One of the things that's interesting about St. Joseph the Worker as an actual feast, which is a rather recent feast in the church, is that we can get into our heads the idea that work is simply laborious, the word work, in the sense that it's just drudgery, that it's something that we have to go get to and finish so we can get back to our life. But it's true on the one hand that man wasn't made simply for labor, but it's not true that man wasn't made for labor. In the very beginning, even before the fall, we have this idea of God placing man in the garden to till it, to work it, to cultivate it, literally to raise it up, even in a rational way, to offer it to God. Work is noble for man. It's ennobling of him. Every action we do entails some kind of an expenditure of self, some kind of a labor. It's just a question of what we labor for. So do we labor for him or not? So you take the building behind us, imagine you're just taking clay, right? You're taking stone, you're taking wood, etc. And in and of itself, it's noble, it's beautiful, it's good. And then we can actually fashion it by rationality to make what you see behind me. That's us taking our part in creation and raising it up to God, and in some sense participating in his work of beautifying creation. In some sense, the men might identify just a little bit more with St. Joseph the Worker than just the normal St. Joseph feast day, simply because there's an awful lot of work to do in the seminary. Every single man has a house job, right? We all have house jobs, and there are multiple jobs that each man has to have to be able to make a seminary run properly. We don't simply get served by people on the outside. And that's good for them to know. It's not good for them ultimately to have someone else simply do those things for them. Again, like all work, it's raising us up. It's putting that shovel in the ground, even of as it were, of our intellectual life, and opening up new avenues that we had never considered before, and letting light into the areas of the mind that had been in the darkness of ignorance. The work of prayer, we even call prayer the Opus Dei, the work of God. That the most essential thing any seminarian and any priest does is make sure that they're doing the Opus Dei, which is working for God insofar as they're interceding for the people. So we always consider the Liturgy of the Hours and the offering of Holy Mass as that work, that the essential work that we do for the faithful. All of those areas have to do with good and holy labor. The ironic thing about labor, when it's done for the right person, when it's done for the right reason, is that you sit down at the end of the day and you think, that was a good day. You just put your head on the pillow, realizing that you couldn't have given yourself to anything higher. And there's a great sense of satisfaction that comes with that kind of accomplishment. And then on the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker, we think about our own patrons who have given to us so incredibly generously, offered to us the fruits of their labor so that this could be a reality, so that these men would have a place to be able to be formed properly in the holy priesthood. They have worked in all different kinds of areas in the world, and oftentimes at great expense to themselves and by the sweat of their brow, and then they turn around and they offer this to God. They offer their gifts, both their time, their talent, their treasure, and in this case, being able to make this building such that our men would have a place to be formed in the holy priesthood. And no doubt there were times in which these people, our wonderful donors, were working, didn't know that that dollar that they made was going to be going to this building back when they made it. They once invested their money in various ways, and now they're investing it in the highest thing possible, giving it to the church for the purpose of making holy priests for Jesus Christ.